What up, your boy MC Shadow, coming at you with another G-Life Files. Still right here in SD, it's part 3. We're gonna be doing like Little Italy, El Cajon, Old Town, several cities gonna be bouncing around. You know what I mean? Putting it down for all the SD riders, and you know what? We're gonna be starting off with.
You are now watching M.O.D. Entertainment. Make sure you subscribe and check out the playlist.
I grew up hearing gunshots in the late night. Ghetto bird, police sirens as a mother cries. Just another victim of the Soundbrown genocide. Locals posted, locked and loaded, ready to take lives. And when they heard the chief lay, they would duck up out of sight. Like your car when the sun down, it was mission time. You had to stay alert, cause bullets always travel blind. We stayed posted, we stayed drinking, and we getting high. Marchando down the enemy's neighborhood as we ride. Put the hood, put the glica sample, fuck their side. No regrets, but the truth is no peace of mind.
G-Files.
Now here you have Waff Town. Now Waff Town, probably the most known neighborhood because that's the neighborhood where Mr. Shadow, Mr. Night Owl was from. Now Waff Town is a neighborhood that's been around since the 60s. It's right there in Little Italy. The reason why it's called Waff Town is because Waff was a term that they used to call the Italians. It stands for without papers. That's how they used to call the Italians, because it used to be an Italian, Portuguese, and Mexican neighborhood, because obviously they were getting discriminated against by blacks and whites, so they banded together, which was the immigrants, which was, Hispanics, Portuguese, and Italians at the time, that migrated to that area, that got together, more Italians and Portuguese than Mexicans at the time, and that is the reason why it's called Waff Town. And then through the years, more Mexicans started moving in there, and Italian families moving out and everything. The neighborhood became more Mexican rooted. You know what I mean? Now there's more Mexican members than anything else. But yeah, it was originally an Italian neighborhood, and yeah, that's what's up with Waff Town right there. Like I said, you can find them right there in Amici Park, is the heart of their neighborhood, and where they be posted and doing their thing and representing for their neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like, they with the business and definitely holding it down. Now here you have Spring Valley. Now Spring Valley is obviously right here in Spring Valley. It's roughly a small neighborhood. They've been around since the 90s. Used to be a tag banging crew that became a neighborhood. They're not that old school and not that large, but nonetheless, man, they're with the business. You hear about them. They be putting in work right there. You definitely, hear about them going at it with, the surrounding neighborhoods and holding it down right there for their neighborhood. You know what I mean? Representing right there. And Jamaica Road and La Presa and Grand is where you can find their neighborhood. And yeah, man, they just right there, keeping it G. You know what I mean? Now here we have Old Town San Diego. Now Old Town San Diego is probably one of the oldest neighborhoods out here. Been around since the 50s. It's a large neighborhood. You definitely hear about it. You could pretty much find them throughout all of Old Town San Diego. You know what I mean? They definitely with the business, and they definitely be right here holding it down. You know what I mean? Going at it with like the surrounding neighborhoods. Mostly clashing with Waff Town. Seems like Waff Town and Old Town have some serious beef right there. You know what I mean? Because their neighborhoods also are roughly close together. But Old Town obviously being the older one out of the two. And yeah, man, they definitely right here holding it down, and they definitely with the business, and yeah, it's where you can find them throughout all of Old Town, holding it down. Here you have Lena Vista. Now Lena Vista is a neighborhood that's been around since the 50s. It's a large neighborhood, and hated, man, because it got a lot of beef. It seems like they be going at it with everybody over here. You know what I mean? Been around since the 50s. You can find them right there on Morley Street. Is the heart of their neighborhood, where you can find them posted. Like I said, man, they active, they large. You definitely see the activity, and these guys ain't no pushovers, they ain't no chumps, man. You definitely hear about them. You definitely see the activity, man, because like I said, man, it seems like everybody be going at it with these guys. You know what I mean? Over here, it definitely looks like there's heavy beef. So it seems like they're holding their own, and with no problem. So that's what's up with Linda Vista right there. Now here you have the city of El Cajon. Now El Cajon is a city that has several neighborhoods in it. It's called Box City, obviously, because of the box apartment places that they had right there. Now they're not projects, but they were affordable housing units for military families, that fought in war and everything like that, but they were never projects because they were still always upper class, nicely, you know what I mean? Like, it's still considered like nice and everything like that, decent area. Um, but they're shaped like boxes. That's why it's called El Cajon, Box City. Um, you know what I mean? And it's active right here because it has the second highest murder rate in the county. You know what I mean? So they definitely be kicking it up. But that's only because there's so many different neighborhoods in this area. Like you have El Cajon, Unido Locos. Then you have the Dukes. Then you have the Orphans, and then you have the Townsmen. You know what I mean? El Cajon Locos is the original one, the oldest one. You can find them right here on Main, representing for their neighborhood. And yeah, even though they are the main ones, they're not the largest. And it seems like the activities between them, they kind of like have died down. You don't really see them up or hear about them as much. But nonetheless, that's who El Cajon Locos is right there representing. Now here you have El Cajon Hoodlums. Now this neighborhood is the one that you hear the most about, and the one that you see the most activity from out here. Um, like I said, they're not the original like the locals and everything like that, but nonetheless, man, you definitely see them up. They deep. You definitely see the activities, with them, and yeah, man, they definitely holding it down right here for their neighborhood and definitely putting in work, man. You hear about these guys, these guys ain't no chumps, homie. They right here in El Cajon and they, putting in work. Now here at Cajon Dukes, the next one up in line that I will say, is one of the original older ones. Like I said, all these neighborhoods are not the same; they're different. Now the Cajon Dukes was started in the '80s, roughly small, but nonetheless, they right here, representing for their neighborhood and doing their thing. Here have El Cajon Unido Locos. Now this is probably the other neighborhood because you don't really hear about the locals and dukes as much as you do about the hoodlums and the Unido Locos. They definitely did. They definitely with the business. Another neighborhood that was been around since late '80s, early '90s, and definitely right here representing for their neighborhood in El Cajon and putting it up on the map. And then here you have the smallest one, which is El Cajon Orphans, because obviously this is the same one as the one from LA. Orphans is a big neighborhood, that's scattered throughout LA. You got them in Orange County, you got them in Palmdale, you have them out here in SD. Like I'm telling you, man, like they just spread out and but their numbers are not. A neighborhood in a whole is large, but the sub cliques are a little bit smaller. But nonetheless, they're right here representing. Here you have Lemon Grove. Now, Lemon Grove, you can find them right here on Lemon Grove. Obviously, they are a neighborhood that has been around since the '80s, late '70s, early '80s. They definitely deep. They definitely with the business. You definitely hear about these guys. Going at it with the surrounding neighborhoods and putting in work. Going at it with the surrounding neighborhoods. Like I said, these guys ain't no chumps, man. They keep their site active. And putting it down right there for the Lemon Grove gang, so that's what's up with them. Now here you have Claremont. Now Claremont is a neighborhood that's been around since the '80s, roughly small. You know, hasn't been around as long as like some of these other neighborhoods, but nonetheless, man, they definitely right here representing and holding it down for their neighborhood. They ain't no pushover, no chumps. They be holding their own right here in Claremont, and representing for their neighborhood. Now here you have Mission Bay. Now Mission Bay is another neighborhood that's old school, been around since the '50s as well. You can find Mission Bay right here at Grandview and Balboa by Interstate 5, obviously. Now it was said that this neighborhood was started by Big Hazard, the gang in East LA. That's why they have a Mission Bay Hazards clique. It was said that that's what I was told, that older homies from Hazard had started this neighborhood. I'm not sure how true that is. You can find them also right here through the Rose Creek courts, right there underneath the bridge, where they're at one of their hangout spots, where they like to chill, post up. You know what I mean? They used to post up. I know they were pretty cool with Claremont. I don't know, how well their relationship is now. But yeah, Mission Bay definitely right here holding it down for their neighborhood and representing. Shout out to the homie Beaver and shout out to the homie Suspect from Mission Bay and shout out to all the homies from Mission Bay that be doing their thing.